no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts. Is banking with Capital One even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Talk. Why compromise? Get value and coverage at T-Mobile, your hometown network. Visit your local T-Mobile store to switch.
Joe Cordell. New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers
experience of life.
It is.
Yeah, well, it's just like, oh yeah, and it's just like they have these wooden, like, you know, the plaques.
Kayla Morning Show, or you can call us 800-900-1300.
1 minute of encouragement. Dare to be with Charlotte Campbell.
We carry the tunes. We'll get tattoos and we'll trash hotel rooms. Baby, take my hand.
Like a damn sociopath.
Wish I was in the Southland sitting. Taste of humor. He sees the face he was born with, but then walks away without doing anything about it.
Cincinnati has always had a wonderful jazz scene. It's waned from time to time, but it's certainly back again.
Easiest decision ever. Do your part at WVXU.org.
Do it right now.
To make things right, gotta keep it real simple. Or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing
From Grand heading inbound through the Big Mac Bridge. This traffic report is brought to you by Metro, where riding is believing. Go to ridingmetro.com for a free ride. I'm Tori.
Boy, you got the 75 traffic backs to Whitten. Northbound 75 continues slow through the cut for an extra 10. Same for northbound.
Making the drive to work easier. It's a 103.5 WGRR traffic update.
It's just a mess in here.
It's magic, but I know that you did all that. You're the reason, there's no doubt.
Across the sky, it's the way you love me. It's a feeling like this.
Of resurrection of those we love. Death pretends to be Lord over us. It's not. God. She went away, and now she's gone. But don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on. See, this is the inspired clarity of Jane's illustration. A woman is not usually.
Call me crazy and out of touch, but I know that it's from above. Tell me, I don't give it close, just happen like that, happen like that, happen like that. You can see the stars align.
It influences interest rates throughout the economy is maybe the best way to put it. It has also shoved trillions of dollars out into the economy with certain effects. How long is that going to continue?
Well, that's what a lot of investors want to know. When the pandemic started, the Fed went to extraordinary lengths to support the U.S. economy, including launching a big bond buying program that's designed to keep long-term interest rates low. At some point, the central bank is expected to scale back those bond purchases, but it wants to be careful not to pull the plug too soon before the economy is strong enough. You know, we had that weak jobs report for August when employers added just 235,000 jobs. Fed policymakers may want to wait to see if hiring picks up in September and October. Kathy Bostancic, who's with Oxford Economics, thinks the Fed also might want to wait for Congress to get past this game of chicken that lawmakers have been playing with the debt ceiling, because that could also rattle financial markets.
I do think that probably gives them a little pause too. Like, let's just wait and make sure we get through that without too much market upheaval. And we think they start to taper, December, early next year.
Investors will also be looking for signals this afternoon about when the Fed might be ready to raise interest rates off in the future. Back in June, policymakers thought it would be 2023 at the earliest, most of them. We'll see if that timeline has moved up at all in the 3 months since.
Is this an especially sensitive time for the Fed Chairman, Jerome Powell?
It is. His term as chair expires in February, so President Biden's in the process of deciding whether to reappoint him for a second term. Powell generally gets high marks for his stewardship during the pandemic, and he would almost certainly win easy Senate confirmation, but he is a Republican, and some progressive Democrats would like to see the president pick somebody else, maybe Lael Brainerd, who currently sits on the Fed's governing board. So just one more thing to ratchet up the pressure on the Fed chairman this afternoon.
NPR Scott Horsley, thanks.
You're welcome.
Support comes from the Jewish Foundation and Jewish Federation of Cincinnati, celebrating the culture, vibrancy, pride, and traditions of Jewish life in Cincinnati. Jewish Cincinnati Bicentennial opens with the Ish Festival and rededication of the Chestnut Street Cemetery September 25th and 26th. Discover all the events and more about celebrating Jewish Cincinnati online at jewishcincy200.org.
We value the trust you put in us to bring you the best tri-state news coverage, and now you can start each weekday informed about our community. Subscribe to our Daily View email and receive stories from the award-winning WVXU news team in time for your morning coffee. Visit WVXU.org to subscribe. Support comes from UC Health. This is collaboration and research to find answers for the most complex cases. This is the region's only proton therapy tool for fighting cancer. This is science. And at UC Health every day, we're proving in science lives hope. You can learn how at uchealth.com.
Voice of 1A, but there is an incredibly dedicated team working with me on the show every day. One person isn't enough, and every person on the team makes a difference, makes it better. The same is true for public radio. No single reporter, host, or program makes public radio great. It's the combined work of thousands of reporters and local stations that makes NPR your choice for news. Listeners like you who support stations like WVXU
on the door so the referees could not get out. So technically, that's kidnapping.
Yeah, good luck getting a first down.
Yeah, let's see you make a bad call now.
Next game. In any event, I believe one of the assistant coaches was actually tossed from the game, I'm not sure. But Pat has done a treatment on this that I found very amazing.
Oh, a treatment.
And perhaps we could share it with everybody else.
That was a bad call, we all know it now, we're trying to talk about it. Respect the stage, we're only human, let's all try to get around it.
Try to be someone else. You don't have to prove yourself. Don't try to be someone else. You are.
You say, get a quote in less than 3 minutes at safeauto.com or call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO.
Left somewhere on the highway, and at a side of a smile. Get there when we get there. Every inch is a mile. Body like a bag full. Driving with my eyes closed. I know every curve like the back of my hand. 15 and 30. I ain't no hurry. I'ma take it slow, just as fast as I can. I'ma take it slow, just as fast as I can.
3:30 in the morning, not a soul in sight. The city's looking like a ghost town on a moonless summer night. Raindrops on the windshield, there's a storm moving in. He's heading back from somewhere that he never should have been. And the thunder rolls. And the thunder rolls. Every light is burning in a house across town. She's pacing by the telephone in her faded flannel gown, asking for a miracle, hoping she's not right, praying it's the weather that's kept him out all night. And the thunder rolls. And the thunder rolls. The thunder rolls. And the lightning strikes. Another love grows cold on a sleepless night as the storm goes on out of control. Deep in her heart, the thunder rolls. She's waiting by the window when he pulls into the drive. She rushes out to hold him, thankful he's alive. But all the wind and rain, strange new perfume blows, and the lightning flashes in her eyes, and he knows that she knows. And the thunder rolls. And the thunder rolls. The thunder rolls, and the lightning strikes. Another love grows cold on a sleepless night as the storm goes on out of control. Deep in her heart, the thunder rolls. You know I'll never try. Yeah, everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody hurts someday. Yeah, everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey, here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. Memories bring back memories.
Warm 98.5.
80s, 90s, now.
21.
Friday, October.
What are you
866 Hustling is the morning hustle.
Known for excellence, trusted for value, Walker Funeral Home expanded with 4 convenient locations to better serve your family.
Thinking like, oh my gosh, they can buy something fun or they can do whatever. So my mom, when we moved to Ross, you know, because it's so far away.
Hey, sweetheart, Rose Lavelle was
that too.
front and center and scored the first goal.
Yeah, so that's good, I guess. Have you been there yet?
Event. 3 days only, Thursday and Friday, September 23rd and 24th from 10 to 7, and then again this Saturday.
Circling like a plane that never lands.
Discover one of 5 new. All right, some more exciting news, uplifting news this morning. Rose Lavelle scored the first goal at the TQL Stadium last night against Paraguay. Here she is.
I'm Dan Beebe, owner of Save Discount Drugs in Covington. Save Discount Drugs proudly offers a full line of Ananda Professional CBD products.
The number in the thousands. A number of illegal immigrants from Haiti reportedly released into the country in recent days.
The official who spoke on the condition of anonymity says many have been released with notices to appear at an immigration office within 60 days. The Homeland Security Department has been busing Haitians from Del Rio to El Paso and Rio Grande Valley,
along the Texas border, and this week added flights to Tucson, Arizona. The second U.S. official, also speaking on condition of anonymity, says large numbers of Haitians were being processed under immigration laws and not being placed on expulsion flights to Haiti. I'm Julie Walker.
It was a purely party line vote. Every House Democrat voting yes on...
For your contribution and your fine comment as well, Paul. It's just about 9:01. You know, our Vibrant Arts...
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. President Biden will announce today the U.S. is purchasing another 500 million Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine doses. They'll be donated to low-income countries. As NPR's Tamara Keith reports, Biden will reveal the pledge at the start of a virtual global summit on the pandemic.
The announcement will bring the total U.S. pledged vaccine donation to 1.1 billion doses, with the majority set to be delivered next year. The virtual summit aims to get world leaders and NGOs behind an ambitious goal of vaccinating 70% of the globe's population by this time next year. President Biden gave a preview in his remarks at the UN General Assembly.
To fight this pandemic, we need a collective act of science and political will. We need to act now to get shots in arms as fast as possible.
The world's wealthiest nations have been criticized for planning to give their fully vaccinated citizens booster doses, while more than 90% of Africans are still waiting for their first shot. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
The U.S. says it will continue to quickly return thousands of Haitian migrants to Haiti. Many are camped in Texas at the U.S. border with Mexico. Reuters reporter Dana Beth Solomon says some migrants have crossed into Mexico to get supplies, and a few may stay because they don't want to be flown back to Haiti.
Once they were able to get to Mexico or somewhere they could charge their cell phone, they started to share WhatsApp messages and videos on Facebook, and they saw some of the videos from Haiti of people getting off the plane in Port-au-Prince, very distraught.
She spoke to NPR's Morning Edition. Meanwhile, some Border Patrol agents have been placed on administrative duty. The Department of Homeland Security is investigating after images showed some agents on horseback who appeared to use their reins as whips on migrants. The Chinese Property Development Corporation Evergrande says it has settled a multi-million-dollar interest bond payment. That pushes off a full-out default that could upend global markets. But NPR's Emily Fang reports Evergrande faces more debts with looming deadlines.
Evergrande said in a statement it had, quote, resolved the $34 million interest payment on onshore bonds through private negotiation, a sign perhaps that Beijing could cut the property firm some slack. But Evergrande still owes more than $85 million in interest payments on international bonds due Thursday and is likely to default on those. And it has about $370 billion in total debts and liabilities. The firm became China's second biggest developer by taking out risky loans to buy land, selling apartments before it even built them, and then taking out more loans. But new regulations forcing developers to pay back debts have crippled Evergrande. Now other developers and contractors, many of which Evergrande owes money to, are also facing unstable finances.
This is NPR.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Atlassian, makers of teamwork software like G.
Welcome back to the Bob and Tom Show. There's Christy Lee at the Navy Federal Credit Union News Desk. Hi, Christy. Hi, Chick. And there's Pat Godwin at the Oxford Gold Group Performance Room, Pavilion, and Arena. Hi, Chick.
A little bit earlier, we enjoyed Pat Godwin Unplugged.
Yeah, I stepped on the court.
Good job, Pat.
That's still great.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
goodness. There's Josh Arnold, who's not in trouble today. He's the perfect coworker. He's at the I Hate Steven Singer sidekick chick.
Yes, happy to be.
And there's Jess Galls.
Hello, Chick.
Staring at the back of Josh's head. There's
Looks nice.
Ace Cosby. There's Willie Griswold wrapped in a blanket.
No.
Two large sweet teas, that's it.
Take a vow of silence, make cheese.
Thank you.
When the student is
It would
ready,
drive you nuts, wouldn't it?
I would not be a good monk.
can you imagine? You'd be like Ace Ventura, the second one. They'd give you something just to get you out of the monkery. Here, take mine. The Medal of Enlightenment. You take mine.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Every day has to start somewhere.
So the FBI has confirmed that human remains found in northern Wyoming. I often don't hear that. I'm sure there's lots of remains in Wyoming. There's a lot of desert Wyoming, and there's a lot of problems buried in those holes. There's something like that from Casino anyway. But it's the board of the Grand Teton National Park, and they found the remains in some 40,000 square miles of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. She's the young lady who disappeared on a cross-country road trip with her boyfriend or fiancé. The coroner has since ruled it a homicide as of yesterday, and now the manhunt is underway for the missing fiancé, Brian Laundrie, and he's classified as a person of interest by the FBI. We've got a missing, now murdered, attractive blonde white female at the hands of her attractive white boyfriend, and this makes her good news. I think it's a fascinating story, and Jim Ryan is here from ABC News covering this for us. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Yeah, that's a pretty good synopsis of the story and where it stands right now. These two were on a cross-country trip, and they were chronicling their adventures and posting to Facebook and posting to Instagram and little updates about where they were. Yeah. That's kind of what Gabby Petito wanted to do and the purpose for this trip. At some point, her communication stopped. She quit posting things. She stopped sending texts to her mother, and they eventually went cold. And so sometime after that, Brian Laundrie shows up at his parents' house in Florida without his fiancée. Police got interested. They tried to talk to him. The parents said, no, you're going to have to talk to our attorney. And now Brian Laundrie is gone. So that's where it stands today. But you're right. Manner of death was a homicide. The precise cause of death, the coroner, and the investigators have not yet said.
You know, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. At least that's what I heard in the intro to Cops before they took that off the air. But Jim, I think the thing here is the fact that, okay, the boyfriend, they go on a trip, they're seen fighting. Police have documented that because they intervened after they having a dispute. He drives all the way back from Wyoming to Florida without his fiancée/girlfriend, and he was the last person to see her. I'm pretty confident saying he did it. And maybe probably about 20% more than O.J. and Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, but I'm pretty confident I think the killer might be the boyfriend.
Well, obviously, I mean, the investigators believe that too. They served a search warrant at his parents' house the other day. Looking for computer evidence. The affidavit that was sworn out for that search warrant gave some details about their suspicion that Brian Laundrie was at least involved in this case. And so, yeah, they're gathering evidence. You know, I think their assumption is that he's responsible too. But you're right. In a court of law, they have evidence that he did it, and that's what they're trying to do now is gather that. First, they got to find him.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? So he drives with her. They're on a road trip. Everything's great. And all of a sudden, for like 12 days, parents don't hear anything. She's not. And she's a blogger, right? She's vlogging their trip. She's under the van camp or whatever it's called. It's an old community. People